of Representatives. History will look back upon this time as a critical juncture that the House, as one body, and the Committee on Ethics and Privileges in particular, rose above and beyond the noise and clutter of local politics and patronage to remind our kababayang Pilipino what it entails to be and remain to be a public servant, the House of the people. It is with deep honor and heavy heart, as a chairperson of the Committee on Ethics and Privileges, to report to this esteemed chamber the result of the committee's investigation relative to the motu proprio action by the Committee on Ethics and Privileges on the matter of the acts of Representative Arnolfo Arnie A. Teves Jr. of the 3rd District of Negros Oriental, the violation of the Code of Conduct for disorderly behavior docketed as Committee Case Number MP 2023-11. The committee commended this measure as part of its legislative authority emanating from no less than the Constitution of our Republic to initiate and recommend sanctions against any House member for any violation of the rules of the House of Representatives. As the appointed guardian of the morals of the House of Representatives, this committee exercises authority prudently in recommending any action or remedial measures that will vindicate the dignity, integrity, and reputation of the House of Representatives. The committee understands that as a public officer and legislator, Representative Arnolfo A. Teves Jr. is held to higher ethical standards, especially when the acts contained of violates the very same laws our Congress has arduously passed. As stewards of the public trust, the members of the House of Representatives are imbued with a sacred responsibility to embody the high standards of ethical conduct. Public officials must be reminded of the mantra, public office is a public trust. It is essential for a public official to uphold this public trust to remain in public service. As chairperson of the committee, I have come to inform this venerable body of the committee's recommendation on the aforementioned case after conducting a thorough investigation with notice and hearing upon Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. that started on the 1st of August 2023 and concluded in the 14th of August 2023. The committee took painstaking time and effort to inquire with several concerned national government agencies to provide information to the committee relative to the recent developments of the acts of Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. Their testimonies, together with other evidence, including the due consideration of the answer of the respondent, were carefully weighed by the committee. All this were done to ensure that the committee will come up with an informed and enlightened decision. During the conduct of its investigation, the committee considered the following acts committed by Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr., which taken collectively lead to the recommendation of the committee. Number one, his ongoing persistent pursuit of his application for political asylum in the country of Timor-Leste. Number two, his continuous absence without leave in the House of Representatives in violation of our House rules. And number three, his indecent behavior portrayed in social media, which reflects discredit in the House of Representatives and diminishes the stature of the position. The main basis for this recommendation is his continuous absence without leave in the House of Representatives by his persistent pursuit of political asylum in Timor-Leste. This constitute abandonment of public office and violation of his oath of office as House member. This main act committed by Representative Arnolfo Teves Jr. reflect discredits on the House of Representatives and constitute violations of Section 141, Paragraph A and B, Rule 20 of Rules of the House of Representatives and disorderly behavior that warrants a recommendation for disciplinary action. In the landmark case of Osmeña versus Pindaton, the Supreme Court declared that the parliamentary immunity of a member of the House does not protect him from responsibility before the legislative body itself whenever his acts or conduct are considered by the latter disorderly or unbecoming of a member thereof. I affirm that the power to determine which acts constitute disorderly behavior rests entirely in the wisdom of its chamber of Congress. It is important to emphasize that the committee has always been consistent in its effort to ferret out the truth and exercise prudence and a high degree of restraint in recommending any sanctions against a colleague. Following the outcome of the investigation and taking into consideration the gravity of misconduct committed by our colleague, the committee was compelled to make this hard decision as there was more than sufficient basis to call for such legislative discipline in the basis of substantial evidence gathered during the investigation. After a thorough discussion in the matter, taking into consideration fairness and due regard by giving due notice to the respondent and on the basis of the substantial evidence acquired by the Committee on Ethics and Privileges, this committee, by a unanimous vote of its members, recommends to the House of Representatives the imposition of the penalty of expulsion from the House of Representatives upon Arnolfo Ari Teves Jr. With this, it is now incumbent for this honorable body to decide whether or not to adopt our recommendation, considering the steadfast commitment to uphold the rule of law and standard of morality in the House of Representatives. We stand at the crossroads of history. Let us make the informed, even if painful choice to stand by our people and remain honorable representatives the Filipino people deserve. Thank you, dear colleagues. Mabuhay ang bansang Pilipinas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
What is the pleasure of the gentlelady from Iloilo, Congresswoman Janet Garin?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to be clarified with regards to a content in the committee report.
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Chairman. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, Honorable Chairman, on page 12 to 14 of the committee report, one of the findings being discussed is the designation of Representative Arnulfo Teves Jr. as a terrorist by the Anti-Terrorism Council. We are aware, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, that this designation still has to go through a process of appeal and final decision. With this, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, may we inquire from the Honorable Chairman that a mere designation by the Anti-Terrorism Council of a member of this House without any other ground, will that be considered as a ground of expulsion, for expulsion?
Mr. Majority Leader, we shall recognize the Chairman of the Committee on Ethics. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Your Honors, it was just only included in the discussion, but in our recommendation, it is very clear that we just act on our recommendation for the disorderly behavior and for violation of the Code of Conduct. And a mere designation is not the basis of our recommendation.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, Honorable Chairman, just to be clear about it, item B in the findings and discussion is a mere discussion, but the main reason for the recommendation is disorderly behavior and violation of the Code of Conduct of the House of Representatives as contained in the committee report of the Committee on Ethics. And for the record, the chairman, Mr. Speaker, is stating that this will not mean that any member of Congress who will be listed or designated as a terrorist of the Anti-Terrorism Council would actually mean a violation of the Code of Conduct and hence will result to expulsion. And that is clear, Mr. Speaker. Do we get the confirmation from the Honorable Chairman?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I affirm on that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You. So Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adopt the findings and recommendations contained in Committee Report number 717, and for this purpose, direct the Secretary General to call the roll of members for nominal voting.
there's a motion to adopt the findings and recommendations contained in
Speaker.
Committee Report number 7.
An inquiry, Mr. Speaker, just a reiteration for our part.
What is the pleasure of
Yeah.
the lady?
This pertains, Mr. Speaker, again on letter B, the one of the bases, right, which is written here in our committee report. Letter B on the designation by the ATC as terrorist to Representative Teves. So may I know from the chairman of the Committee on Ethics, Mr. Chair, that is the designation of the ATC to Representative Arnulfo Teves a basis in our rules? Just to clarify din po, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I separately reiterated a while ago that the designation of the ATC for our colleague is not the basis for our recommendation.
And Mr. Speaker, distinguished honor, are you saying that for the basis of designation alone will not be the basis for any of us to be expelled? Just to reiterate.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, the designation alone would not suffice as our basis for this recommendation.
And do you also confirm, Mr. Speaker, that in our Rule 20 on page 76 of our Rules of the House, on Section 141 on Code of Conduct, there is no mention about designation of terrorist?
Yes, it is there, no? From our report that we are just only talking on the disorderly behavior and for violation of our code of conduct of our House of Representatives.
And in your report, Mr. Speaker, you are just mentioning for a fact that there is a designation by the ATC, but it's not the basis for expulsion alone.
Mr. Speaker, in our report is just there as part of our discussion during the meeting, and we are included in our committee report.
Okay, that's all, Mr. Speaker. Majority Leader, thank you.
I repeat now, there is a motion to adopt the findings and recommendations contained in Committee Report number 717. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is hereby directed to call the roll of members for nominal voting.
This is a new type of mouse repeller. It can send out a kind of ultrasonic sound that mice hate. Mice are particularly afraid of hearing. Usually placed in
Okay, mga kababayan, may commercial pala. Teka, tuloy ho natin mga kababayan, ha? Nabitin ho yung panonood nyo. Alright,
Roll call of
tuloy natin.
members for the adoption of the findings and recommendations, Committee Report number 717, submitted by the Committee on Ethics. Honorable Representatives, Abalos, Abante, Abunda, Acharon, Asidre, Akop, Adyong,
Mr. Chair. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Congressman Zia
Yes,
is
my,
recognized.
my vote is yes, and I would request that my written explanation of my vote be included into the records, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, so noted, yes.
Thank you.
Advincula, Agaraw, Alba, Albano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Jose, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Ang, Angara, Aquino, Aquino Magsaysay, Arbison, Arenas, Arrogancia, Asistio, Ataide, Aumentado, Balindong, Barba, Barbers, Baronda, Barsaga, Baskug, Bautista, Bautista Lim, Benitez, Bernos, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bondok, Bongalon, Bordado,
Mr. Speaker,
Congressman Bordado is recognized.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. My vote is yes, but kindly allow me to give a short explanation later.
Yes, let
Thank
me
you.
do that.
Busita, Briones, Brosas,
Mr. Speaker, my
Yes.
vote, my vote is abstain. Mr. Speaker, abstain pala. There's no vote. Abstain.
Okay. So noted, go ahead, please.
Buhain, Bulut Begtang, Bustos, Cabredo, Cagas, Kahayon Uy, Calderon, Calixto, Campos, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castro France,
Yes, Congressman Castro is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, my vote is abstain.
Yes, okay, so noted. Go ahead.
Castro Jane, Celeste, Chan, Chato, Chua, Chungalao, Ko Angelica Natasha, Ko Elizaldi, Ko Pilar, Ko Angko Jaime, Ko Angko Mark, Colada, Colyantes, Corvera, Cruz Ambrosio, Cruz Ricardo, Cuba, Quaresma, Dagook, Dalipe, Dalog, Dayanghirang, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor, Del Mar, De Los Santos, Dimaporo Mohammed Khalid, Dimaporo City Amina, Dionisio, Domingo, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, D. Faustino Ino, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Ecleo, Emano, Enverga, Escudero, Espares, Espina, Estrella, Udela, Fariñas, Fernandez, Ferrer Antonio Juliet, Ferrer Juliet Marie, Flores, Fortes, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Galeos, Garcia Albert, Garcia Dante, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Maria Angela, Garcia Pablo John, Garcia Vincent, Guardiola, Garin, Gasataya, Gato, Go Ed Christopher, Go Mark, Goles, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzalez Aurelio, Gonzalez Neptali, Gonzalez Sandro, Goriseta, Guico, Gintu, Gulias, Gutierrez, Hagedorn, Haresco, Ataman, Hernandez, Herrera, Oribata, Javier, Ko Olga, Ko Ricardo, Ko Wilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lacson Noel, Lagman, Lagon Daphne, Lagonsani, Lara, Lazatin, Lee, Ligarda, Libanan, Limcaychong, Loyola, Luistro, Lumayag, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Magsino, Malapitan, Mangawang, Maniquez, Manuel,
Mr. Speaker,
Congressman Manuel is recognized.
I abstain from voting in this matter because in the first place, the committee report should not have included what was being pressed on by the Anti-Terror Council, which is a very questionable body in our country right now. Thank you.
So noted. Please proceed.
Marañon, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariano Hernandez, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Mastura, Matibag, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Mercado Revilla, Miguel, Momo, Morden, Nava, Isay, Noel, Nograles Juan Fidel Felipe, Nograles Margarita, Nolasco, Oaminal, Olazo, Olivares, Ongchuan, Ordanes, Ortega, Oano Dizon, Padiernos, Paduano, Paglas, Palma, Panaligan, Pancho, Panotes, Pascual, Peña, Pimentel, Plaza, Pleito, Primicias Agabas, Pumaren, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Recto, Regencia, Remulla, Revilla Bryan, Revilla Ramon Jolo, Reyes, Rillo, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez Eulogio, Rodriguez Rufus, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Dieda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Sali, Salumbangon, Salo, Salvame, Santos, Saulog, Silverio, Singson Richel, Singson Ronald, Singson Mihan, Solon, Suwan, Swansing Horacio, Swansing Micaela Angela, Suarez, Talyado, Tamayo, Tambunting, Tan Joseph, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tan Tambut, Tan Chay, Tan Watko, Tariela, Teodoro, Teves Arnolfo, Teves Jose, Tianco, Tieng, Tolentino, Tulfo Erwin, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tupas, Tutor, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Valeriano, Valmarior, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso Tuazon,
Mr. Chair.
Congressman Veloso is recognized.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, I vote yes, and I would like to submit my written explanation to be
Proceed.
Vergara, Versosa, Villa, Villafuerte Luis Raymond, Villafuerte Miguel Luis, Villanueva, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yamsuan, Yap Christian Tel, Yap Christopher Son, Yap Edvic, Yap Eric, U Divina Grace, U Jazel Victoria, Yulo, Zamora Amparo Maria, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Isabel Maria, Zubiri. Second call. Ulit ito. Second call on the adoption of the findings and recommendations on Committee Report number 717. Alonte, Alvarez Jose, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amatong, Barzaga, Bautista Lim, Billones, Bulilia, Bondok, Briones, Collantes, Dayan Hirang, Daza, Duhali, Duterte, D. Ian Paul, Ecleo, Emano, Fariñas, Ferrer Juliet Marie, Gomez, Gonzaga, Hagedorn, Ataman, Co Ricardo, Lacson, Lagman, Legarda, Libanan, Madrona, Matugas, Puno, Remulla, Rillo, Saulog, Tolentino, Villafuerte, Luis Raymond, Villafuerte, Miguel Luis, Villanueva, Yap, Eric,
With 265 members voting in the affirmative, 0 against, and 3 abstentions, the findings and recommendations contained in Committee Report number 717 on the matter of Representative Arnolfo Arni A. Teves are now adopted.
Mr.
We now proceed, Mr. Majority Leader, on the explanation of votes. We have a reservation on the part of Congressman Bordado.
Mr. Speaker, may we recognize the Honorable Bordado?
The Honorable Congressman Bordado is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Majority Floor Leader. Mr. Speaker, I read the committee report submitted by our colleague, Representative Filemon Espares, the chairman of the Committee on Ethics and Privileges. The committee posited such major reasons as disorderly behavior and violation of the Code of Conduct of the House of Representatives for recommending that the penalty of expulsion be imposed on Representative Arnolfo Teves. But, Mr. Speaker, the inclusion of his designation as a terrorist by the Anti-Terrorism Council seems to be out of bounds. Because whether or not a person is guilty of terrorism is a matter to be decided by the courts following due process. It's good, Mr. Speaker, that the chairman of the Committee on Ethics and Privileges made the clarification. So I am therefore voting yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. The explanation of your vote is hereby noted. Mr. Majority Leader, we have no. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes.
Session suspended. Session resumed. In line with the adoption of the recommendations of the Committee on Ethics and Privileges, the Secretary General is directed to furnish the appropriate agencies a copy of Committee Report number 717. Majority Leader,
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend session for a few minutes.
session suspended.
Okay, mga kababayan, pansamantala pong sinuspinde, ilang minuto mga kababayan, ito pong session. Majority vote, abstain, ano mga kababayan, dyan po sa nangyaring expulsion dito kay Congressman Arnie Teves na inyo po napapanood na nasaksihan. Ayan. Okay? Shoutout po sa lahat ng mga bagong pasok. Hindi ko man po kayo mga kababayan na maisa-isa. Ay, tapos na pala.
Tuluyan.
Teka lang ho. Kaya tapos na pala. Okay, mga kababayan, ano po, ayan. Ito yung balita, mga kababayan, na kung saan, etong si Congressman, hindi na pala, hindi na siya Congressman, Arnie Teves po, correct, iko-correct ko lang, ito hong si Arnie Teves, ay hindi na ho kongresista. Ayan. By majority votes and 3 abstain, ayan, ang nangyari ho mga kabayan ay napagbotohan ho, at yun nga po ang naging resulta, tinanggalan na po siya mga kabayan, in-expel na po siya mga kabayan. Ito mga kabayan, ipe-play ko yung balita na kung saan, at ituloy ho natin.
Yan ang tinanggal ng Kamara sa kanilang hanay si Negros Oriental Representative Arnie Teves. Ang basihan ng desisyon na yan, alamin sa pagtutok ni Mark Salazar.
Sa botong 265 na yes, 0 negative vote at 3 abstention, expulsion ang desisyon at tuluyan ng tinanggal ng House of Representatives si Negros Oriental 3rd District Representative Arnolfo Teves sa kanilang hanay.
Ayan ho yung balita. Sige ho, pakinggan natin. Nag-buffer.
Sa plenaryo kanina, inilatag ng komite ang 3 dahilan kung bakit nire-rekomenda nila ang expulsion ni Teves.
Number 1,
number 1 ho, sabi ho rito, number 1,
his ongoing persistent pursuit of his application for political asylum in the country of Timor-Leste.
ayun. Yun una daw mga kababayan na ground ho ng ang nagsasalita ho mga kabayan, ito hong si Espares, si Espares ho yung nagsasalita mga kabayan. Ang unang ground daw mga kababayan, yun daw hong mga kababayan na nag-apply siya ng asylum sa Timor-Leste. Yan ho yung isang ground. Pangalawa.
Number 2, his continuous absence without leave in the House of Representatives in violation of our House rules.
Pangalawa, is continuing absent, hindi daw ho pumapasok sa Kongreso. Una ho, asylum. Pangalawa ho, mga kabayan, yun hong hindi pagpasok o pagliban diyan po sa Kongreso. Okay, dalawa na. Sige. Kaya nga ho, ang tanong ho namin dito, kasi ito ho ang nagdesisyon ay committee po ng privileges. Alam kaya ho ng mga kongresista, alam kaya ni Tambaluslos na itong si Congressman Espares ay may nananawagan sa kanyang isang babae na di umano, ba't hindi kaya iniimbestigahan to sa tingin po ninyo? Ito nagsasalita kasi, itong si Congressman Espares, mga kabayan, kamakailan ho ay na-interview po natin dito, yun pong ginang, actually ho, in-advise ko na siya, ang sabi ko doon sa ginang, huwag kang matakot, tinuruan namin kung paano ang dapat niyang gawin, di pailan mo sa, kasi ang proseso ho ng BAUSI, para ma-file yan, automatic ho kinakailangan ng certification to file action. Sigurado hindi naman sisipot si Espares sa barangay level. Sigurado hindi po siya pupunta. Ngayon, at saka mo i-file sa korte, doon na magkakaalaman. Yung babae na po, willing naman po siyang magpa-DNA para sa kanilang anak. Ito ho, alam ba kaya ng mga kongresista itong ginagawa ni Espares na may nananawagang babae sa kanya na naanakan niya at iniwanan niya na maglalabing isang taon na ang nakalipas. Tanong ko lang ho mga kababayan, ah, liliwanagin ho natin yan. I-clear ho natin mga kababayan, yung mga bagay-bagay na yan. Kasi dito ho, ang ground ho ni Congressman ni Arne Teves, yun hong pag-apply daw ho ng asylum sa Timor-Leste, one. Pangalawa ho, yung hindi niya pagpasok, diyan po sa Kongreso. Anyway, sige ho, ituloy ho natin ito.
And number 3, his indecent behavior portrayed in social media which reflects discredit in the House of Representatives and diminishes the
Indecent ho, yung act, sa media daw ho, indecent. Ano kaya yung hindi para sa akin, ano kaya sa tingin ho ninyo mga kabayan, yung hindi indecent, na allegedly, na meron hong nananawagan sa inyo, congressman, eto hong babae na to, na yung naanakan, na 11 taon, na tinatanggi nyo ho yung bata. Pero noon humanganak ho itong ito pong nanawagan na to, ay sinuportahan nyo pa ng 5,000 sa kanyang panganganak. Then afterwards, sinusuportahan nyo pa ng mga unang taon. Pero then, iniwanan nyo rin. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? Alam nga naman magbigay ka ng pera sa panganganak, tapos magsuporta ka pa sa kanya na hindi sa'yo yung anak. So, 3 ground ho mga kabayan, ang kanila hong pinagbasihan para ho matanggal na sa Kongreso itong si Congressman Okay, tuloy ho tayo mga kababayan. Naputol ho tayo. Pasensya na, naputol ho tayo. Ayan, walang aalis ho So, ayan, naputol. Naputol ho. Ayan. Wala si Sir Dan. Nandito na ho ako, nakabalik na po ako Sir Ricardo Paulino. Shoutout po, Ayan. So, nakabalik na po tayo. Ayan. Okay, we're back. Okay. Pasensya na ho, nawawala ho yung signal. Ewan ko ano nangyayari. Mukhang sinasabotahe naman ho tayo, may sabotahe naman ang nangyayari. Ho. Paki-check mo nga doon baka pinatay yung internet. Okay. Baka nasipa. Okay. Ayan. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat ha. Hindi ko na kayo maisa-isa. Ano? So anong ibig kong sabihin? Ngayon ho ay hindi na po kongresista. Ito hong si Arnie Teves. Tuluyan na po itong sinibak. Ano? Tuwang-tuwa ngayon itong mga siyempre mga kabayan, alam naman natin yung mas malakas ho yung yun hong kapit ho nitong etong si Mayora at saka yung mayor, ano? Malakas ho ang kapit ho nila mga kababayan. Isipin mo nga naman nagkakaroon pa ng pagkakataon na kaalyado kasi, kaalyado. Nagtagumpay na ho sila sa kay Arnie Teves, na kung saan siya ho, mga kababayan, ay tinanggal na ho sa Kongreso, diniklara pang terorista, kasi talagang gano'n para ho itong parang bantag lang, kinakailangan ho nila na may maisampang kaso para tuluyan na hong masibak. Parang kay bantag lang, kay Sir Bantag. Sabi ni Marky Lincoln confused ako doon sa ground nila para gawa nila na recommendation. Tapos in-approve din agad ng committee. Ganun pala kababaw ang standard ng legislative. Anyway, sila ang nakakaalam dyan. Kaya nga ho, ang dami kong kilala kongresista, mas majority ho ang absent. Pero ho, hindi ho sinususpende. Lalaglag, nakakabawi din yan si Teves, ayan. So mga kabayan, yung latest update ho natin, ayan ho latest update ho yan mga kabayan, kung saan eto si Congressman, ayun nga, tuluyan na hong nasibak. Ayan. So for the meantime mga kabayan, dahil mahina na ho internet, at pansamantalang muna magpapaalam sa inyo, bibigyan ko ho ng masunod ng magandang reaction video. Nagluloko ho ang internet, dalawa ho ang internet dito, nagluloko. Ewan ko bakit. Mukhang nasasagot tayo. Again mga bayan, maraming salamat po sa inyo pong panonood at pagtangkilik. Mabuhay po kayo always. God bless and God bless. Paalam po.